we go as we approach this Labor Day weekend and the unofficial end of summer here on WFAN. Sean Morash, that's me. If your voice gets confused, Tommy Lugauer, that's him. Nico and Rami with us across the way. Evan off until Tuesday. Tiki still enjoying Greece. As we've been informed, his wife is bored, so more on that, I'm sure, next week. And plenty to get into football-wise, the start of college football-wise. Rutgers going to come up on one of our signals, the FM signal, a bit later on. But, Tommy, we begin, as we have seemingly all summer, on the baseball front. And who let the Mets out? Who?
Let me say this. This sweep at Citi Field, for me, and I think I speak for all Met fans, was the most satisfying series win of the season because not only what it means, obviously, in the race for the NL East, not only what it means for creating separation from the Reds, and now they got swept, first time all year, the Reds got swept in L.A. against the Dodgers. When the Phillies, and it's tough for the city of Philadelphia to stoop to the low that they stoop to because they're already, scum of the earth, bottom of the barrel. But when Alec Bohm cried like a little baby about some microphone and, it's in the line of sight, I can't see, and he acted like a wuss, for the Mets to put it on them this week and sweep them, and quite frankly, it wasn't even close, was so satisfying as a Met fan. To stick it to those crybaby Phillies and their fans and their players. Oh, we can't win at Citi Field, so we have to cry about a microphone. This is why you love sports, Sean. It was great. And I think really the entire city banded together because we don't agree on much, Sean, when it comes to the Mets and Yankees. Sure. But one thing I think we do agree on is screw Philly.
Yeah. Foo Philly, as they like to say. I'm completely with you. Now, look, there's a couple different avenues we're going to take on your calls at 888-808-1019. So I'll just kind of bullet point them, and then we'll go through them. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the emergence of Nolan McLean. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it is Vientos time of the year that we will get to. But let's just keep it right here for the Philly point of view right now. What happened this week and what happened last night, and really a couple nights ago with the whole microphone thing and the glare that I think is true now that is going to become the Met rallying cry and gimmick as long as this continues.
Well, you've seen, and good job by Met fans. And I don't know where you find one of these.
The parabolic, yeah.
People have brought this now to Citi Field, which it's one thing like if something grows over time and you buy the Grimace outfit, 2 weeks later. Yeah. There were people with the microphone. Would you have one of those sitting around your apartment that you were able to bring to Citi Field the next day? Great job by Met fans.
Great job by Met fans. And look, you needed something organic to happen. That has happened, and the Mets beat the heck out of the Philadelphia Phillies. But I think above anything else, I was proud to be a New Yorker, even as a non-Met fan who many people think I hate the Mets for this reason. We have lived through the building of new stadiums and new arenas over the last 15, 20 years? It's probably been longer than that. Think about the excitement in that surge we had. It started with the Prudential Center. Madison Square Garden got redone. Obviously, the Barclays insert joke there, Tommy, fine. Citi Field and Yankee Stadium opening on that same year, and then the Yankees going and winning a World Series right away, right? And then, of course, MetLife Stadium, the big bland toaster oven in the swamp. Okay. Mm-hmm. Those stadiums at times have come to life. I have never been a believer in the idea of, it's not the same as it used to be. I think if you're truly good and truly great, any one of those stadiums will rock. I was at MetLife Stadium, the only playoff game it hosted with the New York Giants. It shook when Hakeem Nicks ran. 2009, that Yankee Stadium, the new Yankee Stadium, came alive. We saw the Mets run to the World Series about 10 years ago. It came to life. But what these new stadiums and new arenas had been lacking, that I really do not believe existed, is a rival of a team that we all hate coming in and it being a house of horrors that is mentally taxing on them. And Citi Field, congratulations, front of the line of all of the new buildings that have opened here in the last 15, 20 years. What has happened now with those Philadelphia Phillies and these New York Mets has not happened in any of these buildings since they opened. And that is, you have a team that wets itself and is legitimately scared to play here. The Phillies walk into Citi Field and they mentally shrink. It is now in their head.
Yep.
And Mets fans have to own it And we have taken a piece of pride back in this city when you hear about you never want to go play there, you never want to go play here, in whatever the sport can be. The Phillies cannot function as a franchise when they step foot in Citi Field, and that can pay dividends later on in a playoff series.
No, absolutely. I mean, Citi Field is electric. The crowds have been unbelievable this year, even through the ups and the downs, and I think that's a credit to the fans. I know they were publicly shamed by the owner, but I think that even if Steve Cohen didn't make those comments before the year, I think Met fans were going to be excited. They were going to show up. They were going to pack the place because of last year, because of Juan Soto, et cetera. They have been there. They have been loud. And you're right. The Phillies are a team that is mentally broken when they step foot in Citi Field. Now, number one, the Mets are better than the Phillies. Let's just call it like it is. I don't care what the records are. I don't care that the Phillies are ahead for now of the Mets in the standings.
Especially with Wheeler out.
Especially with Wheeler, but the Mets are just a better fundamentally team. I mean, the Phillies make the Yankees look like a crisp baseball team when it comes to defense. I mean, the Phillies defense is absolutely horrific, embarrassing on every level. And you're right. They had to resort to, like I said, Philly is known for going low. And they just love to go low. For them to cry about a microphone is about as low, even for their standards, was pathetic. And they got karma rammed up there. You know what? When the Mets took it to them, because those sight lines, removing the microphone and having us to sit there for 25 minutes while they did that, did absolutely squadouche for the Phillies. And the Mets put up, 500 runs against them. So you're right. The Phillies are completely broken mentally. They're shot when it comes to facing the Mets at Citi Field. Yeah. And I think, like you said, it has a lot to do with that home field advantage that the Mets have created there, which is just an amazing thing to see.
Yeah. So the next time the Phillies do come to Citi Field, and if that is a playoff series, the Phillies now see ghosts when they walk in that building. They see ghosts, they lose confidence, they lose their swagger, and that's enormous. Now, fast forwarding, what does that mean? Now what? Right? We've played the now what game with all of our teams for a long time, ever since Robert Saleh stated those words, the now what, in training camp 2 years ago. Now what for the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies? Look, the NL East felt over a week ago, and this is where a lot of us, and I'm guilty of this, Tommy's guilty of it, Sal's guilty of it, Evan's guilty of it. We come on and we do a show each and every day for 162 games of baseball. And look, how do you not overreact? It's the nature of the ups and downs of a long baseball season. But it's not now an overreaction to say the Mets are alive for the division. They are. There's no way around it.
They're alive.
The Phillies have lost their ace. They are now just 4 games up. And when they see the Mets and they scoreboard watch, it is in their head. And the Phillies have a schedule ahead that includes a trip to L.A. to face the Dodgers, includes, of course, a trip to Milwaukee coming up at the beginning of next week, a good team in the Brewers. The Mets will visit Citizens Bank at the beginning of September as well. These are all extremely losable games for the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Mets, having found something here with Vientos waking up, and of course maybe an ace has emerged in Nolan McLean, the Mets have the Phillies, dare we say, right where they want them, and we do a lot of talk about who could be the hottest team when it matters most late. The Mets have shown a lot with their lack of runners in scoring position, the lack of wins after 8 innings, the lack of trust in Ryan Helsley, that big pickup. They've given us a lot of reasons not to believe. But maybe, just maybe, the emergence of that bat like Vientos and the emergence of this young kid in McLean, and let's see what Jonah Tong has now, is enough extra juice and energy to take a season where a lot felt like it was going wrong even while they were winning with the Mets and turn it into all that is right, while the Phillies are doing the thing the Met teams, the same old Mets would have done, in absolutely crumbling.
I'll push back on, a couple things there. The first thing I'm going to push back on is positive Tommy never overreacts, never throws in the towel. You could speak for Evan, you could speak for Sal. I always bang the drum of positivity. What I will give you is that at one point, maybe a week or so ago, I recognized that the Reds were more of the clear and present danger, so they were more of the focus, and I allowed the NL East to play out because I always think you shoot for the stars. But when the Mets were only up on a game and a half on Cincinnati, I think it was more important to focus on them. Now that they've created some separation between them and themselves and the Reds, and they've gotten closer to the Phillies, now the focus shifts back, to your point, to the NL East. Let me say this, because you mentioned Nolan McLean, who has gotten off to, I'm not making this up, a better start to his Met career than Tom Seaver. This is he has gotten off to a better start to his Met career than Tom Seaver,
In a 3-game sample size.
Okay. Tom Seaver, Doc Gooden, Jacob deGrom, on and on and on. The Mets are known for their pitching. I don't care what decade you talk about. This is a franchise that has a rich history of great pitching. Nolan McLean has had a better start to his career, big league career, than any of those players I just mentioned. So you could take that for whatever you want to take it.
Back that up?
Yeah, they put it on this thing last night. What's it, a .89 ERA? Seavers was like 1.89, something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but he has a better ERA through 3 starts than Doc, than Jake, than Seaver. He has not only been unbelievable, the poise, the stuff, and these are starts in Atlanta where the Mets normally don't play well. This is against the Phillies, and I understand they own the Phillies, but still, that's a big start. His family there in Seattle. And remember, the first start of his career was off the Friday where they blew another game, and things were just... Now, since then, they're, 8-3 in their last 11? Yeah. But all of his starts have been big time, and he has answered the bell. That says a lot about him. He is pitching like an ace. Even though it's only 3 starts, he already looks like an ace of a staff.
And that was something that definitely held back any belief of the Mets. Even if you were positive, Tommy, or anybody that was extremely positive. While we were frustrated with the bats and the runners in scoring position, we still knew deep down, and we still know deep down, that's a lineup with Juan Soto, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, that's a third of your lineup before you even get to the other guys, that ultimately you're still going to trust in October moments to come through. But what always held me back from this Met team, and I still have major questions about the bullpen, don't get me wrong, was the pitching and this idea of a pitching lab. And look, Kodai Senga, if he's not hurt, he's not going deep into games. David Peterson had been that guy that you would rely on. And beyond that, you might have saw the best last year from Sean Manaea. Okay, to be determined now still on the rest of what's going on. But if you get a young arm like Nolan McLean coming up doing what he's doing, and you see some of the young, great arms in Major League Baseball, I'm not telling you he's Tyreek Skubal. I'm not telling you he's Paul Skeens. But I don't think it's a fluke what you saw for those 3 starts. And who cares if he doesn't have the longevity? I think he is already emerging as the stopper of bloodshed for this Met team and a guy that I think you got to ride it out here the rest of September and October. And this really could be the ace in the making for the Mets.
Thank God Evan is not here because I'm about to say something that I'm not sure is 100% factually correct, but just go with me here. The last time the Mets had a young pitcher named Nolan, they won a World Series.
Oh, God.
Don't fact check that. Let's just go with that. Let's just dream that. Can we need to fact check that? What? Focus on what? I'm totally focused.
Can we focus on whether they can win the division or not before we mention World Series? Like, can we at least have that same conversation?
Hold on a second. I'm literally sitting within 3 feet, maybe 4 feet, probably too close, to a guy that loves and lives for these kind of tie-ins. I thought I've been sitting on that one for a week or so. And I was waiting till we did a show. I know it's the Mets, but I thought you would love that. You love the tie-in. You do it all the time with the Rangers. You love to do it with the Giants. How does it not fit?
It doesn't.
The last time they had a young pitcher named Nolan, they won a World Series.
They had to have had another young pitcher named Nolan at some point.
I don't think so. Based on my research, my extensive research, I don't recall another young pitcher named Nolan on the Mets.
All right. Well, the last time somebody with the last name of McLean was a star for a team in town, the Devils won the Cup. So you have that, too.
That was your tie-in?
John McLean.
Got it.
How about that?
Sounds like you made that up.
No, I did not. 888-808-1019. All right, Met fans, what is the biggest key to the turnaround? Is it Nolan McLean? Is it Mark Vientos? And has Citi Field officially become a house of horrors for a rival and the first of all these semi-new buildings at this point to do so? The Mets are back. We're coming to you live from the Town Fair Tire Studios, powered by Town Fair Tire.